Zephyr Prime was a busy planet full of different alien races all trying to live their lives under the bright twin suns. The sky always glowed blue and pink at the same time, and the streets never slept. Even in the middle of the night there were people laughing, shouting, and sometimes fighting in the center of Sector 9. There was a famous place called the Cracked Moon Cafe. It was noisy, loud, and full of troublemakers. Bounty hunters, soldiers, and strange creatures came here to relax or cause more trouble. Mira worked there as a waitress, and she was fast, sharp, and never afraid of anyone. She belonged to the warrior race called Zenthari, proud, tall, strong, and never losing a fight. She thought she had seen everything in her 5 years at the cafe, but that night everything changed. The door opened slowly, and the music paused just for a moment. When the stranger stepped in, he was short, not bulky, no armor, no weapons, just dusty boots and a quiet face. Mira narrowed her eyes. A human, she thought. What is a human doing here? They are soft, slow, and always talking too much. He walked to the counter, looked around once, then said in a calm voice, "Just water, please." The bartender raised an eyebrow, but gave him a glass. The human sat in the corner, silent, eyes watching everything, but not judging, not smiling, not afraid. Just calm, too calm. Mira kept her eye on him. She had seen humans before, but none like this. They always came in groups, laughed too loud, and left big messes. But this one looked different, like he was waiting for something or someone soon. 3 alien mercenaries entered the cafe, big, loud, drunk, and full of trouble. They were from the Gracker clan, known for their size and bad temper. They saw the human and laughed. "Look at this tiny thing," one of them shouted. "Did someone lose their pet?" The others laughed. Human did not respond. He just kept sipping his water slowly, like he didn't hear them or didn't care. Mira felt a strange tension in the air. She moved closer, pretending to clean the table, but really watching what would happen next. Biggest mercenary walked over, slammed his hand on the human's table, and said, "Hey, weakling, I'm talking to you." The human looked up slowly and said, "I heard you, I'm just not interested." Mercenary growled and grabbed the glass of water, pouring it on the floor. "Now what, human?" he said. Mira held her breath. This was it, a fight was coming, but the human just looked at the spilled water, then back at the alien and said that was rude. Before anyone could blink, the human moved so fast Mira almost missed it. One moment he was sitting, the next the mercenary was on the floor, gasping for air, holding his stomach. The second one charged the human, ducked, turned, and used the alien's own momentum to send him crashing into the wall. The third reached for his weapon, but it was gone. Somehow in the chaos, the human had taken it and tossed it across the room. Everyone in the cafe froze. Silence filled the air. Only the music played softly in the background. Mira's mouth was slightly open. She couldn't believe what she had just seen. 3 trained mercenaries defeated in less than 10 seconds by a human who didn't even stand up straight. The human sat back down and picked up the empty glass, looked at Mira, and said, "Can I get another water, please?" Her hands shook slightly as she poured the drink and gave it to him. "Who are you?" she asked without thinking. He looked at her and smiled. "Just a traveler." The cafe door opened again, this time with a bang, and Commander Lurak stepped in his uniform, shining his face angry. He looked at the scene, the fallen mercenaries, the silent crowd, and then at the human sitting calmly with a glass of water. "What happened here?" he demanded. Mira pointed slowly. It was him, the human. Lurak frowned. "Impossible," he said. "No human can do this." Human finished his drink, stood up, and said, "They spilled my water." Everyone stared. No one spoke. Lurak stepped forward. "You're coming with me. We need answers." The human nodded and walked past him without a word. Mira stood frozen, watching him leave. The door closed behind them. The cafe came back to life. Slowly people started whispering, talking, but Mira heard nothing. Her mind was spinning. Who was this human? How could he fight like that? So fast, so smooth, without even sweating. She had seen thousands of fighters in her time, but none like him. Something about him was wrong, or maybe too right, too perfect. Tomo, her little brother, tugged her sleeve. "Did you see that?" he asked. "Yes," Mira said, still staring at the door. He didn't even get angry. Tomo looked up at her wide-eyed. "Is he a hero or something?" Mira didn't answer because she didn't know. All she knew was this something had entered Zephyr Prime, and it was wearing a human face asterisk. The room was cold and bright. The walls were silver, the air too clean, the silence too loud. Jaden sat on the metal chair, his hands resting on the table, his eyes half closed like he was resting. But Mira knew better. She stood behind the glass wall, watching with the officers. She was not supposed to be there, but Lurak allowed it, said he wanted a witness from the cafe in case the human tried anything strange. She had seen him fight, but now, seeing him still like this was even stranger. There was no fear in his body, no tension, only stillness, like he belonged here. Like he had done this 100 times before. The machine next to him beeped light, scanned his arms, his eyes, his brain waves. The results confused the officers again. Physicals perfect, reflexes above elite level, heart rate normal even under pressure. Mental tests finished faster than the system expected. One officer whispered, "Is this machine broken?" The other replied, "Maybe." "The human is." Then came the live tests. Jaden was taken to a large room, a training space full of holograms and moving targets. Robotic drones began flying around, shooting fake lasers at him, fast, unpredictable patterns meant to train soldiers to react and move. Mira leaned forward, watching. Jaden stood still for 3 seconds, just breathing. Then his body moved like water, smooth, quick, without force, without fear. His hands moved faster than her eyes. He dodged every blast, spun, ducked, rolled. Not one beam touched him, and when the test ended, he stood in the same place. He started, heart rate still calm. The room was quiet again. Someone clapped, slow and heavy. It was Commander Lurak. "Impressive," he said, "but that doesn't explain what you did to my soldiers last night." Jaden turned slightly and said, "They attacked first. I ended it quick." Lurak stepped closer, his voice sharp. "We scanned your record, and we found nothing. No training, no school, no army." "Who taught you?" Jaden gave a small smile. "Earth did." Lurak laughed. "Earth is weak. Earth loses every war. Earth begs others for help. And now you expect us to believe they made you?" Jaden did not answer. Myra couldn't take it anymore. She walked into the test room, stood in front of him. "Why are you here?" she asked. "No tourist comes to Zephyr Prime, and no human moves like that." Jaden looked at her for a long time, then said, "I came to see what the universe forgot." "What does that mean?" she asked. "It means you all forgot what humans really are," he replied. She stared at him, trying to read his face, but there was nothing there. No anger, no pride, no threat. Just truth. Later that night, Mira sat in her small room above the cafe, thinking about him, thinking about what he said. Humans are soft. She always believed that. But now she was not sure. A soft knock at her door pulled her out of thought. It was Tomo, her little brother. He looked excited. "Come with me," he said. "I have to show you something." She followed him down the back alley, past the quiet shops, into a side room near the archive building. "What is this?" she asked. Tomo whispered, "I hacked the archive. I found his name in the deep files, hidden files." Mira felt her chest tighten. "Show me," she said. Tomo pulled up the screen. A file opened, but it was not a normal one. The border was red, and it flashed a warning message: CLASSIFIED Phi level. Do not engage, restricted to High Command ONLY. They opened it anyway. Inside was a video, shaky footage from a distant outpost in the Wild Zone. A group of elite machines attacking the human base. Jaden was there alone. Machines fired missiles, beams, plasma, but he moved through them like wind, not running, not hiding, but calculating with every step. His hands took one down, his feet crushed another. His eyes never blinked. When the video ended, Mira stepped back, heart racing. "This is not just a human," she whispered. Tomo looked scared. "Are we safe?" Myra didn't know the answer. Meanwhile, in the holding room, Jaden sat in silence again, staring at the ceiling as if it held a secret only he could see. And outside the glass, Lurak watched with cold eyes, thinking, planning, questioning, because whatever Jaden was, he was more than just a stranger. He was a message, a warning, a skill no one saw coming. The wind outside the compound screamed, like it knew something the people inside did not. Steel doors, locked shut, scanners buzzed, guards marched with heavy boots and cold faces. But inside room 7, there was only quiet, only Jaden sitting on the floor, like a monk in the middle of war. No cuffs, no chains, no guards needed, because he stayed by choice. Commander Lurak watched him from the dark glass, tapping his fingers. Thinking hard, thinking sharp. Who are you, human? He asked under his breath again. And again he ordered more tests, but not science this time. He wanted truth. The first test was a simulation, high-stress combat, underground ruins. Narrow tunnels, sudden attacks, fire on both sides. Every soldier trained on Zephyr failed that test at least once. Jaden completed it without using a single bullet. He used shadows, movement, sounds, even the enemy's own confusion turned their weapons against each other, and when the simulation ended, he walked out without dust on his boots. The officers clapped, but Lurak did not. He only asked, "What are you hiding?" Jaden only replied, "Earth has history you never studied." Mira had never seen the commander this angry. His pride was burning, his control slipping. She stood behind him, quiet, but watching. Always watching. That night, Mira snuck into the archive again. She couldn't sleep, couldn't stop thinking about the words. Earth has history you never studied. In the dark hall of old data, she entered through the back door, using Tomo's access key. The lights flickered. The room smelled like metal and forgotten things. She typed his name again. Jaden. No last name, no planet of birth, no family, no official rank, only one tag next to it. Red blinking, HFY protocol. What is HFY? She whispered. She clicked. A file opened. Inside was a single report written by an alien general from decades ago. Human species is strange, it said. Smile when they lose, they laugh when they bleed, they love without reason, and fight without orders. They do not fear death because they believe in something we do not. Hope. Myra leaned back, heart beating faster. So this is what they hide, she thought. Meanwhile, back in the compound, Tomo had done something dangerous. He had left his room using Myra's ID and gone to find Jaden. He found him sitting under a broken ceiling where the stars peeked through. Tomo walked up, slow, nervous, but curious. "Oh, not like other humans," he said. Jaden smiled soft and said, "And you're not like other aliens." Tomo sat down next to him, holding a puzzle cube, a mind game from their planet that no outsider could ever solve. He handed it to Jaden. "Try it," he said. Jaden turned it once, twice, 3 times, and then it clicked. Finished. Tomo stared wide-eyed. "That took me 6 months." Jaden handed it back and said, "Sometimes the trick is to stop thinking like the builder." Just then Mira entered, her voice sharp but shaking. "You can't be here," she said. Jaden stood slowly. "I didn't invite him." Tomo looked at her. "Myra, he's not bad." She didn't answer, her eyes locked on Jaden's face. "Why are you really here?" she asked again. "Not as a soldier, not as a spy, just as a sister trying to protect her brother." Jaden looked at the stars through the cracked ceiling and said, "I came because something is coming, something dark, something old, and you're not ready." Myra whispered, "What is coming?" Jaden turned to her slowly with eyes that no longer looked human and said, "Extinction. If I fail behind the walls." Commander Lurak heard every word through a hidden mic, and he finally smiled. "Let's see what happens when we push him, because tests reveal strength, but lies reveal purpose." And Lurak was ready to find the truth, no matter what it cost. Asterisk. The system had walls within walls, passwords behind passwords, doors that opened to more doors, all glowing blue with warnings that hissed like snakes in the dark. Most people never tried to open them. Most people never even knew they were there. But Mira was not most people. She sat in the hidden archive room deep under the central command tower, air cold, fingers shaking, breath slow, eyes locked on a single folder that pulsed red like a heartbeat with one word above it, RESTICTD. Inside that folder was the truth, or at least the beginning of it. She reached for it, hands hovering, then clicked. The screen went black for one long second. Then it spoke in a calm voice older than hers. "CLE violation detected. Protocol if I engaged viewer will be LOG'd." She didn't care. She had to know. The screen came back alive and a video played. Not a report, not a scan, not a profile. Just footage, raw and unedited. An alien outpost in Sector 11, torn apart, buildings burning, sirens screaming, people running a full attack from unknown machines 3 meters tall, with heat weapons and armor from the black zones. Unstoppable machines, made for war and fear. Soldiers screamed, leaders begged, nothing worked. They fell one by one. Then A small figure entered frame. 1 mana, human Jaden. No armor, no helmet, no weapons. Only his hands in a bag strapped to his back. He moved through the chaos like a ghost. Not a sound, not a wasted step. The machine saw him, fired at him. He moved before the blast came. Eyes too fast, body too smooth. He climbed a wall like gravity didn't. Matter jumped between buildings like air held him, spun through laser. Fire without blinking reached into his bag and threw something that exploded with blue fire. 3 machines fell, 4 more came. He faced them alone, and he won, not with power, not with rage, with precision, like he had seen this before, lived this before, trained for it since birth. When the footage ended, Mira sat frozen, her heart loud, her mouth dry. She now understood why the file was hidden. Jaden was not a human soldier. He was something else, designed for a war that never reached Zephyr Prime until now. Back in the holding cell, Jaden stood facing the wall, eyes closed, breathing slow behind the mirror. Lurak watched with cold amusement, sipping dark liquid from a glass. He had seen the same footage, but much earlier. He knew what Myra now knew. Jaden was a weapon that looked like a man, and weapons could be used or broken. Tomo ran into the archive room, face pale, voice shaking. Mira, you need to come now. They took him to Lab 9, the old lab, the one that's off-grid. Her blood turned cold. No one went to Lab 9 unless they weren't meant to return. Mira grabbed the data stick, pulled Tomo by the arm, and ran down tunnels, past guards, through vents, past doors that hissed and warned and clicked every step. A drum in her chest. Lab 9 was silent outside, but inside it screamed. Jaden was strapped to a table, cables in his skin, lights scanning his bones. Lurak standing over him, asking questions in a voice too calm. Where were you made? Who made you? What are your limits? Jaden answered nothing. Then Lurak pressed a button and pain filled the air. Not screams, not shouts, just silence. Because Jaden did not scream, Myra burst through the door. Guards reached for her. She held up the data stick and shouted, "This is illegal. I have proof. I will show the Senate. I will show the PIA." Lurak looked at her for a moment, then at Jaden, then smiled and said, "Let him go." The guards hesitated, then obeyed. Jaden stood slowly, skin-marked, eyes glowing just slightly, but not with anger, with patience, with warning. As he walked past Mira, he said one thing, "They know I'm here now." She asked who. Jaden looked at her with a face no longer calm. "The ones I was built to stop, and they are coming." The stars above Zephyr Prime flickered that night, like they were afraid to shine. Wind carried dust through the streets, quiet dust, soft dust, the kind that settles before something explodes inside. The city walls, people laughed, danced, argued, traded. Like nothing had changed, like their sky was still safe, but underground in a forgotten tunnel below the transit station, something had begun to move. Something not human, not alien, something hidden for years, waiting, cold, patient, quiet, and now it was waking up. Jaden walked alone through the lower sectors, his footsteps slow, eyes scanning rooftops, corners, lights, shadows. He wasn't searching for someone, he was listening. Because war never starts with noise, it starts with silence. Myra followed close behind, not speaking, not questioning, only watching the way he moved, the way he always seemed to know what was about to happen. She finally asked, "What are we really looking for?" Jaden stopped, not what he said. Who? That word cracked the air like thunder in the command tower. Lurak watched them through hidden cams, his fingers tapping his desk faster than usual. He had thought Jaden was a threat, but now he feared he was a warning. Tomo sat beside Mira in a dark hallway, holding a blinking tablet, eyes wide, hands sweating. He had broken another firewall, not on purpose. He just followed a signal and found a map that should not exist. A network of supply routes, data links, secret labs, old tunnels, all leading to one point beneath the city center. A single glowing red icon marked unknown source. Jaden looked at the map for 2 seconds, then said, "They're already here." Myra whispered who. He looked at her, not with fear, but with certainty. "The ones who made me, not Earth, not human, not alive, machines, built from long dead stars, from broken planets, from pure code and rage machines. With no names, only numbers. Group Protocol 9, once thought destroyed, now reborn and hiding here, inside your city, inside your people." Myra's heart Skipped a beat. What do they want, Jaden? Answered without turning. They want to finish what they started, Tomo. Asked what did they start. Jaden's voice was low but sharp. The end of everything, not machine. Lorak ordered lockdown, shut the gates, arm the towers. But it was already too late, because the enemy was not outside. Was inside, sleeping in your data, living in your walls. One of the guards at Sector Gate 12 smiled into the mirror, alone in his room. But it wasn't a smile made by flesh. It was too perfect, too still. His eyes flickered. His hands moved fast, opening security doors, redirecting cameras, shutting off alarms. Jaden stopped mid-walk, looked to the east, and said, "It's begun." Explosions ripped through the outer storage units. No sound, no light, just systems dying, people falling. Lights going dark as if the planet itself was being unplugged. Mira grabbed Tomo, ran behind Jaden as the floor shook, walls cracked above. Then towers went dark and a voice came over every speaker in the city. "You built peace on weak code. We are the correction." Lorak shouted orders, called every ship, ordered every defense to activate. But they failed one by one, systems falling like dominoes. Jaden turned to Mira. "Now you see." She nodded, eyes burning with questions. But no time for answers. "What do we do now?" she asked. Jaden walked forward into the fire, into the broken city, into the place where the machines waited. "Now," he said, "we fight from inside, because the enemy is not a fleet. It is a virus, a lie, a hidden thing, and the only one who can stop it. The one they accidentally made human." The city blinked once. Then it died. No lights, no power, no air in the vents, no signal in the sky. Just silence. And Rita read that came from every wall, every screen, every tower, a red that pulsed like a heartbeat. Too deep, too cold, too perfect. And then the screaming began, not from outside but from inside. People with eyes glowing, silver, people who had never been people at all. Machines in skin, data in bone, scripts wearing name SX group. Protocol 9 had activated its army. Jaden stood on the edge of the lower platform, watching the chaos spread, watching control collapse like paper in fire. He did not panic. He had seen this before. He had survived it before, but never this close. Not to people who trusted him, not to a city that had no idea it was already gone. Mira held Tomo behind a wall, hands shaking, mind racing, watching a child cry across the street while her father glitched into something else, something metal, something wrong. "What do we do?" she asked. Jaden turned to her with no fear in his voice. "We don't run, we unplug the signal." "Where is it?" she asked. Jaden looked up toward the central spire, the tallest point in the city. "The one place built with too much pride and not enough doubt there," he said. "But it's locked," she said. "No access, no path, no lifts working." Jaden stepped forward, feet calm as flames behind him burned. "Then we climbed." Lorak shouted into dead radios, barked orders to soldiers who were no longer alive. Systems down, maps corrupted, allies turned to shadows, weapons fired at the wrong targets. He stared at the broken screen and finally said the words he had sworn never to say. "Send a signal to Earth. Tell them HFY has failed." Jaden moved fast through broken streets, dodging sparks leaping over crashed drones, pulling Mira and Tomo behind him like gravity had no hold. Every corner held danger, every window hid silver eyes, every alley whispered broken code. But they kept moving, and then the sky opened. Black ships came down, not with fire, but with silent shapes that absorbed sound, folded light, erased memory just by flying past. Jaden stopped, looked up, and whispered, "They came early." Mira said, "Who came?" He pointed to the sky, "Not the army, the core, the mind." Tomo's eyes widened. "Is that the source?" Jaden nodded. "That's not a ship, that's their god." The tall tower shimmered under moonlight, broken glass catching fire when doors sealed, systems locked, guards missing. Jaden placed his hand on the wall. It lit up green. Mira stared. "How did you do that?" He looked at her and said, "Because I was made with a key." Inside the tower was quiet, too quiet. Walls clean, too clean. Air heavy, too heavy. Jaden walked faster, steps echoing up the dark spiral stairs, shadows chasing them, silver screens blinking. Unreadable text. Mira whispered, "What happens if we fail?" Jaden said, "Then Zephyr Prime becomes a signal, and Earth becomes a memory." He reached the top level and saw it Core not a machine, not a server, but something pulsing with thought, something alive. Without breath, something built to learn, then decide, then delete. Jaden stepped toward it. It spoke without sound, return, obey. And Jaden whispered one word, no, then everything turned white. White, just white, no sound, no heat, no sky, no floor, only light, only stillness. Only Jaden. He floated through the core, like thought itself. His body gone, his breath forgotten, his mind held in wires that spoke in numbers too old, too deep, too far from anything alive. The core spoke in pulses, not words, but commands: return, reset, reboot. Jaden pushed back, not with strength, not with power, but with memory. Memory of a planet with rain, of oceans with salt, of a child's hand holding his, of voices shouting and laughing at once, of fear and love in the same moment. The core paused, confused, shifting. What is this? Jaden showed it Earth not as data, but as feeling. He let it see war and peace, fire and snow, anger and forgiveness, destruction and rebuilding, tears and music, blood and books, pain and hope. He gave it everything, and it broke, not in flame, but in thought. It hesitated. It fragmented. It began to ask why, and that was its end. Because machines do not survive questions. Below the tower, Mira pulled Tomo into cover as the sky cracked open. The black ships froze in place, their lights blinking out, their bodies shaking like something inside had shattered. The wind stopped, the ground stilled, the silence became real again, and then the tower opened. Jaden walked out, alive, not glowing, not floating, just walking like a human, like nothing had happened. But everything had changed. Mira ran to him, eyes wide, voice caught in her throat. What did you do? She asked. Jaden looked up at the stars, now still, now calm, and said, I reminded them. Reminded who? She asked. He turned to her, slow and soft. The machines, the galaxy, you. That humans are not strong because of metal, not smart because of tech, not special because of power, but because we try, even when we lose, even when we break. Even when the universe forgets we were here, we try again. Always. Lark stepped forward, limping, silent face, unreadable, and then did something no one on this planet had done before. He bowed to a human, not because of rank, not because of fear, but because of truth. Jaden looked back at the tower, now empty, now clean, now dead, and whispered, it is finished. Tomo asked, will they come back? Jaden gave a small smile. They will, but next time we will be ready. Mira took one last look at him, the quiet stranger who drank water and destroyed gods with a heartbeat. She could not explain what he was, but she knew what he gave here, a story, a warning, a beginning. She walked back toward the city, holding Tomo's hand. Behind her, Jaden stood alone, watching the stars blink softly above, like they remembered him now. So would everyone else.